To start this video off with some tea because your girl is going through it. She is going through it. She is trying to push through with this cold. Is this thing on? Yeah, I think it is. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. If it is your first time here, my name is Hanan and welcome to the channel. Oh my God, I'm so excited for today's video because I have been waiting, dying for this video and to film this video, literally dying. I mean this like for real, like I'm actually suffering at the moment. I have a really bad cold, but I told myself I'm still gonna push through and film this because I know that this video is gonna be so beneficial and you guys are gonna take so much information out of it and hopefully inshallah implement it as well. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys everything that I've personally done that has helped me to prep for Ramadan and has allowed me to have amazing Ramadans. I truly believe that how you prep for Ramadan before it starts is going to play a part in what your Ramadan looks like, truly. This year, you're going to make this Ramadan your best Ramadan yet. I'm breaking it down into different sections. So there are chapters for this video. If you want to fast forward, you can. So these are the chapters that we're going to be going through. The timestamps will be in the description box below, as Ramadan is the most incredible month, as you guys know. And this is truly the month where we can not only just reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but revive our hearts and our souls and really cleanse ourselves to leave the month of Ramadan feeling our absolute best, coming back into the world as amazing people, you know, and that's really what it's all about. Reestablishing your connection with your faith and with yourself. When I tell you guys, Ramadan comes every single time I need it the most, like Ramadan comes and says, here you go. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to reach Ramadan, allow us to really benefit from this month and really make the most out of it. So get your coffee, your tea, your matcha, you know, your notebooks and your pens, because I want you guys to take notes. And yeah, without further ado, let's get this video started. The first section we're going to be diving into is the spiritual section. So this is particularly focusing in on the heart. Before Ramadan starts, you need to purify your intentions. Make niyyah. Niyyah is the Arabic word for intention. So make the intention that you want to purify your heart during the month of Ramadan. Ask yourself, why is it that you are fasting? For a lot of people who are born and raised Muslims, they don't actually know. If you were to ask them, why do you fast during the month of Ramadan? They would just tell you, oh, it's because it's a pillar. You actually have to understand what Ramadan means, why we even fast, and understand what the benefits are for that month. So really doing your research beforehand and understanding your why. Also recognizing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves effort, not perfection. We are not perfect. If we were perfect, we would be angels. We're not angels, we're human beings. We make mistakes, we mess up, we fall short, we do all types of things. Like, we are human, it is normal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us on this earth to test us, and He looks at your effort. Even if you did something so tiny, like for example, you know, a small deed, and you did it consistently, He would love that more than one massive big deed that you did. One of Shaitan's biggest tricks is to make us believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is really upset with us and is not happy with us, and you know, there's no point of us even trying because we've sinned on this thing, and because we've sinned, like, we might as well just keep sinning because what's the point? Like, God's not going to forgive me. Like, I'm just way past any point of redemption, you know? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Himself, "O my servants who have transgressed against themselves, do not despair of the mercy of Allah, because indeed Allah forgives all sins." So even if you are struggling in the month of Ramadan, because let's be honest, not everybody's Ramadan is going to be perfect. So even if you're struggling during the month of Ramadan, and even if you don't feel that spiritual lightness that you feel like everyone else is feeling, you know, you're praying salah and the tears are not dropping, you don't feel that shift in your heart, the fact that you are even trying is loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't take that lightly. The fact that you even stood in salah and prayed is loved by Allah. Even if you don't feel that connection just yet, just continuously do it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open your heart at some point. Not everybody feels that instant connection right away where they're doing dhikr and they're praying and they're like, oh, I feel this connection, I feel so connected to Allah. Not everybody feels that. Sometimes it takes time. So just continuously build on that habit and know that you're still being rewarded for it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it. So just continuously try. How you view Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to play a part how your relationship is with Him. You know, something as simple as understanding His 99 names, or even a few of His 99 names, and understand the root of those names and why He calls Himself those names. You will see even the way that you make dua will change, and how you view Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change. For example, I know that for me growing up, and I talked about this previously before, that the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was portrayed in my Quran classes and stuff was really instilling a lot of fear and really hyper fixating on, how, Allah punishes and you need to ensure that you're doing everything right or else you're going to be in big trouble. And it really made it very hard for me to develop a relationship with him because I was always afraid. And what I didn't realize was that how it was being taught was just completely wrong, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while yes, there should be a level of fear 100%, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about his mercy and his rahmah way more than he does his wrath, right? And he calls himself all of these beautiful names. He calls himself Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. He calls himself Al-Wadud, the most loving. Just knowing who he is through the names that he calls himself can really transform not just our relationship with him, but also make our worship feel a lot more sincere and a lot more fulfilling. Think about how much your mother loves you and the love of a mother in general. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you 99 times more than that. He's truly waiting for us to turn back to him with love. So different ways that you can really shift your mindset in terms of how you view Allah before Ramadan starts is start seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as your wali, which in Arabic means as your friend. I know that this for me completely changed my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because one thing about me is I be talking to God, okay? I got something wrong, I talk to him. I have a problem, I talk to him. There's something on my mind, I talk to him. I talk to him like I talk to a friend. And he calls himself the protector. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Allah is the wali of those who believe, and he brings them out of darkness and into light. Instead of viewing worship through the lens of fear, view it through the lens of love. Another thing is to really focus on building that relationship rather than just checking off on tasks that you want to get out of the way. So for example, instead of seeing, salah and dhikr and fasting as tasks that you need to complete in order to, make sure that that day of fasting counted, see them as being conversations with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're in a state of dhikr, so dhikr is where you're constantly in remembrance of Allah and you're praising him. Think about it as you're not just doing it to get good deeds, you're speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you're praising him. So feel that relationship. When you're in that state of ibadah, really engage with it and be intentional and be present when you're doing it. There's nothing wrong with mindlessly doing dhikr so that you're engaging in that habit. But when you're doing it and you're intentional and you are trying to feel that relationship and closeness and you're really feeling those words, it completely shifts how you're engaging in that worship. Something as simple as when you're making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not rushing it, taking your time, speaking to him, pouring your heart out. And we'll get into more of this a little bit later. Worship will feel less like a burden and feel more like an act of love, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Wadud. Think about the areas of your faith that you feel like you really need to improve on, or areas that you want to improve on that you've been really struggling with. And write down 3 spiritual goals that you have for the month of Ramadan. If you want to create more goals, you can, but really create 3 clear, non-negotiable goals that you have for the month of Ramadan that you will stick to. For example, maybe something that you have been struggling with is backbiting. Maybe that's a very big sin that you've been struggling with, that you're finding it really hard to let go of, and your goal this Ramadan is to be very intentional and let go of speaking badly about people. Temporarily trying to remove yourself from people that really enhance those conversations and allow those conversations to happen. Whatever it is, be in a state of deep reflection. The more goals that I write down, if I don't end up achieving those goals, I will not feel the best. I'm not gonna lie. I like to be very realistic, and I'll usually write anywhere between 3 to 5 non-negotiable goals that I know I need to complete and I will aim to complete. I will talk to you guys about how I really want to write letters to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the month of Ramadan, to kind of like a dua book where I'm talking to God through writing. Personally, for me, I do talk a lot because y'all know I yap, but I just wanted to try something different, like writing it down, because it will allow me to remember and kind of look back on what I said to Allah, what are some du'as that I've asked Allah to answer, and kind of reflecting and looking back on that. I would really recommend actually trying that out. I think it's something really unique and very different, especially if you're someone who really loves to write. Having a dedicated book where you're writing out all of your du'as and conversating with God, I think is just so amazing. So that's something I really want to start out and try this Ramadan. Next thing here is really strengthening your relationship with the Quran. Now, everybody's relationship with the Quran looks very different, but you really want to work on making the Quran your bestie, okay? And let me tell you why. Now, for me personally, every single year at some point, I was really making it a goal to read the Quran from front to back because I wanted to stack up on all my good deeds. But when I tell you guys, I was reading the Quran and I had no clue what I was reading. It's like me not being able to speak German, but I can read German, but I don't understand what I'm reading. It doesn't make any sense. You need to understand, doing tafsir and really reading the transliteration, understanding the context of why that surah was revealed or that specific verse. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us in this Quran? What are some lessons? Salah will no longer feel mindless. You will feel connected because you actually understand what is being said. So, being able to connect certain verses to a certain area in my life that I may have been struggling with. Commit to also making time for reflective Quran reading, even reading a single verse and understanding what that verse means and writing that down and really reflecting on how that verse applies to your own life. Because as we know, everything in the Quran relates to our lives. When you're struggling with something, when you're trying to have a certain question answered, everything is answered in the Quran. So being able to reflect on that, I feel like will truly, truly change your relationship with the Quran. Another thing that I would actually suggest doing is choosing maybe a theme of some sort during the month of Ramadan. Last Ramadan, my theme was definitely gratitude. I was really focusing on gratitude a lot, really focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names that really center on gratitude. And I felt like that was like a big, big focal point for me that month. And so I was really seeking out a lot of verses in the Quran that spoke on gratitude and chapters in the Quran that reflected on gratitude and things of that nature. So I think that really helps a lot when you have a particular theme. So whether it's patience, gratitude, mercy, or you can even do all of that if you would like, but I think it will really help you with guiding what your Ramadan looks like. What you can do is with those particular themes, you can highlight those themes in the Quran and really journal them. Or if you don't journal, in your notes app, whatever it is that you want to do. Or if you don't even want to use your notes app, maybe reflecting on it with a friend or a family member. I guess the thing that I really want to ask now is, if we know that the Quran is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way of speaking to us and He's written every single thing that we need to know, why are we not going above and beyond? And I say this for myself first and foremost, why are we not going above and beyond to actually understand it? Next part is really setting up your dua list. Now, y'all know I do not play when it comes to duas because this is literally the month that can change your entire life. It can change the trajectory of your life. It can change your qadr. I know I keep telling you guys to write things down, but I truly am a big believer in writing things down and just having it on paper or whatever method works for you. Intentional about it before the month starts. Write down everything that you want, everything that you desire, whether it's in this life or the hereafter. Break it down into different sections. These are different sections that you can think about and break up your duas in. Pick up that notes app. I know your notes app is filled with nonsense, okay? Open up your notes app and write a whole dua list of things that you want answered. And don't write just generic duas. Instead of saying, Ya Allah, grant me, a successful job, you can say things like, Ya Allah, bless me with a job that is halal and filled with rizq, will bring me closer to you. Something like that, right? So just being very genuine in what your duas look like. Even thinking about the hereafter. What do you want your hereafter to look like? Me personally, I'm not thinking too much about this life. I'm thinking about the next. I'm trying to secure my position in Jannat al-Firdaus. You feel me? Definitely will be having a flying carpet. I want my hair to be, 26-inch bust down. I want gold dresses. I want everything to be made out of gold. Like, I have very, very specific duas for what I want my hereafter to look like. And ask your duas with full conviction and belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says, I am as my slave sees me. So if you view Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a good light and you're making those du'as and you truly believe that Allah will answer because that's who God is, those du'as are going to be answered, babes. What you put out there is what you're going to receive. Ask. Do not be shy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to answer all of your du'as. The next thing is really preparing for fasting. If you've already made up your fast, I would highly recommend trying out fasting for the next, Monday to Thursday. So today's Sunday. So by the time this video is up, start fasting tomorrow. Just try it out. But if you do this, your body will feel adjusted and ready. And then you can focus a lot more on your worship rather than the physical discomfort of being hungry, because y'all know that can be very, very tough for a lot of us. We start with delaying your breakfast a little bit. So instead of eating, if you eat breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe delaying it, making the attempt of praying tahajjud and getting into the habits of praying tahajjud. Now, if you don't know, tahajjud is essentially a prayer that you pray anywhere between after Isha and a little bit before Fajr. You're basically praying 2 rak'ats, and after the 2 rak'ats, you are making a ton of dua. And this is essentially to connect and establish that relationship with Allah, because night prayers hit so different than praying during the day. There's just something about it. I don't know if it's because everybody's asleep, the world feels a lot more quiet. For me, I initially really struggled with getting into the habit of praying tahajjud. I would fall off sometimes. I would kind of get back into it. what really helped me was gradually building up on that habit. So initially, when it was really hard for me, what I did first was would wake up for Fajr. A little bit before Fajr started, I would wake up and just sit on my prayer mat and just do dhikr and try to connect with Allah that way. So, just making my du'as, constantly praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because for me, just waking up that early was already very difficult. Slowly built up the energy to actually get up and pray tahajjud. So small, consistent steps will make a big difference. You don't need to jump right into it if it's very hard for you. And if praying Fajr is already a struggle, start small. Maybe, waking up 10 minutes before Fajr and just, engaging in dhikr, and then eventually waking up 20 minutes before Fajr and actually praying tahajjud. If we can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning because we have a flight to catch at 7 a.m., we can wake up a little bit earlier, even 10 to 20 minutes earlier just to pray tahajjud. We can do it. If we know that during the time when we're praying tahajjud, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends during the last thirds of the night to listen to us and to allow us to, speak to him about everything that we want, why are we not taking advantage of that? Why would we reject such a beautiful invitation? Even something as simple as setting the intention to wake up and pray Fajr is crucial, because when you set the intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. There is a beautiful hadith that says the closest a servant is to his Lord is in prostration. So increase in your supplications and increase in your du'as. All in all, for this particular section, what I wanted to hone in on is that when you really focus in on your intentions, you focus in on developing that relationship with the Quran, and you really think about, you think about personalizing your du'as, prepping your body for fasting, and committing to praying your nightly prayers, you will enter Ramadan with a heart that feels so light and feels so connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is absolutely incredible. And you will feel fully prepared to take on all of the blessings that come with that month. Now let's dive into section number 2. And in this particular section, we're going to be talking about the mental and emotional detox. Many of us come into Ramadan with a lot of emotional baggage. We're carrying a lot of guilt, maybe a lot of past mistakes that we've made, sins, anger, betrayal. There's a lot that we're carrying when we come into Ramadan, which is why a lot of us really look forward to this month, because we want to leave all of that behind and leave the month feeling a lot lighter. And sometimes when you have all of that and you're going into the month feeling all of that weight, it can make it really hard for you to feel that closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and feel that relationship, because you're so focused on the heaviness that you're feeling and it's taking up a big part of your energy. But I really want you guys to think about Ramadan as being a spiritual detox, right? Kind of like a reset button. Before you start any detox, you have to actually flush out any toxins in your body. And the way that you can do that from a spiritual point of view is making tawbah, which is really repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and getting into the habit of doing that. That way you can actually enter Ramadan feeling light and really feeling ready to receive his mercy and receive his blessing. In your dua, saying things like, Ya Allah, I've really fallen short. I'm really carrying a lot of heavy weight and a lot of baggage. I don't feel my best. I'm finding things very difficult. Ya Allah, make this Ramadan the Ramadan that makes me feel close to you and makes me feel at ease and allows me to feel that closeness and to feel your rahmah and your love. Really, really make this a priority before Ramadan starts, because you want to get into the habit of asking Allah for his mercy and to forgive you, because we want to be forgiven. Other thing is really about self-control and self-discipline. We know that Ramadan is not just about, fasting from food and refraining from eating and drinking, but it's also from fasting away from bad habits, refraining from doing things that we've normalized. What are your spiritual goals? What are some bad habits that you want to leave behind? And what are some good habits that you want to take into Ramadan and really develop, so that when Ramadan leaves, you can carry on with those good habits? Now, this one I think is super important, and that is doing a Ramadan audit. Okay, so that means really checking your circle and seeing the people who are around you, and kind of like you gotta check your environment, because who you surround yourself with is truly a reflection of who you are as a person. I believe that your friends and the people that you intentionally choose to keep around you reflect your values, your morals, how you navigate in the world, and so on and so forth. So kind of do an audit of your environment, assess and see whether or not the people that you keep around you are going to benefit you this month or take you down. Not just the physical presence in terms of the people around you, but even the things that you're choosing to see. What kind of content do you consume? What is it that you see on your phone every single day when you're scrolling on Instagram and you're scrolling on TikTok? What is the type of content that you see? Do you feel like your social media is pushing you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or bringing you closer? Think about that. If this is not your work and you don't need to be on social media and you feel like you're not really benefiting from consuming it at all, delete the app. Delete Instagram, delete TikTok just for that month and come back a little bit later when you feel like you're ready to re-engage. Or train your algorithm before Ramadan starts to consume content that's actually good for you. And work on building your For You page brick by brick and heavily engage with content that will benefit you. So whether it's self-development or Islamic content, whatever it is, so that if you do choose to go on TikTok or Instagram, at the very least, the content that you're consuming is actually good for you. We know that social media is an addiction. Being on your phone is an addiction and it can be very, very hard to let go of. So at the very least, train yourself to use your phone less often. One thing that I've been really trying to get into, and it's very hard, I'm not gonna lie, is putting my phone outside of my room so that when I wake up in the morning, my phone is not there and I'm not physically seeing my phone and scrolling through it. So putting my phone in a separate room, also being very intentional about not using my phone before bed, at least half an hour before bed. It doesn't have to be an hour or 2 hours, but at the very least half an hour. And, preventing my brain from going through brain rot. Doing something that simple will not only make you have the best sleep, because when I tell you guys doing that made me have amazing dreams. Like, I don't have bad dreams no more. I promise you. Wallahi, I do not have bad dreams anymore. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But it will make you a lot more disciplined. Discipline is up to you. You are the only person that is responsible for yourself and your actions. No one is going to chase after you and make sure that, you're reading Quran and praying. I would also recommend seeking out an accountability partner during Ramadan. So, having a friend or maybe a group chat with your friends where you guys are holding each other accountable, maybe having a little bit of a competition. We love a little bit of a competition. If I found out my friend read 5 pages of Quran and I've only read 1, I'm gonna read 10. Because there ain't no way. I'm trying to make it to Jannah too. So just having like a group chat of some sort where you guys are reminding yourselves to wake up for Salah, or you guys are sending each other reminders, whatever it is. And if you don't have a community and you're finding it very difficult, you guys, this is the best time to seek community. Everyone's going to the masajid. There's always halaqas happening during Ramadan. There are always, sister circles, things that are happening. Put yourself out of your comfort zone and go to those events and meet people. Here is really forgiving other people and also forgiving yourself. Now, I know this can be very, very difficult because at the end of the day, someone could have hurt you so badly and you can find it very difficult to let go of that pain and to let go of, the pain that they've caused you, because it's something very difficult. People have different ways of dealing with things. Not everyone can just forgive and forget. For some people, it takes them a very long time. Completely understandable. We're all different, right? But if you can find it in your heart at the very least to try and make the intention of forgiving them, I promise you, wallahi, it will make you feel so much more lighter. And the reason I say this is because for me personally, right, one of the things I've learned is that if I want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me, then I need to be willing to forgive other people. That's just that. Even if it means I forgive them and I just let them go and they're not a part of my life anymore, that is fine. But there is no point in me personally carrying on that baggage in that way, because it does nothing for me but make me feel heavier and make me feel worse. For what? If your heart is filled with resentment, with anger, with sadness, it will be very difficult for you to feel spiritually connected. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who forgive other people. When you forgive a person, it's not just for them, but it's also for you. It releases you from thinking about it all the time. And even if you never are able to tell them, it's difficult for you to reach out to that person who feel like you can't do that, at the very least, just make dua for them and try your best to move past it. I promise you guys, just doing something that simple will change the trajectory of your entire Ramadan, because, people are carrying a lot of things. Sometimes people hurt you unintentionally. Sometimes people say things because they're coming with their own emotional baggage and vice versa. I think it will do you wonders and will really change what your Ramadan looks like. In that same token, I would also recommend reaching out to people and asking them to forgive you for the things that you may have done intentionally or unintentionally. It's not just about having other people, us forgiving other people, but also having them forgive us as well. And this is the best time to ask for that forgiveness. So, putting your pride aside and asking people for forgiveness is a big one. Like, if you just put your pride aside and just ask for that forgiveness and also seek that forgiveness from them as well, because your heart will feel lighter and your ibadah and your worship will feel like it's unhindered. So I would highly suggest doing that. For this section, we're going to be focusing in on the physical body. Now, y'all know exactly what I'm going to say. Put the samosas down. Put the fried food down, put the fatty foods down, put it down. Foods, you are eating the worst types of foods, high in sugar, very greasy, very oily, and stuffing yourselves. Now, I know it's very hard because a lot of us who come from ethnic family, our moms be busting it down in the kitchen and the food that they're cooking is unbelievable. We're looking at the food and we're dying, we're screaming for it, and we want to eat every single thing on that plate. I know. Okay, have some self-control. You can't be eating that and then be so surprised why throughout the rest of the day you feel dehydrated, you feel tired, you feel lethargic, and you're not able to worship in the best way that you would like. It's because you ate a whole plate of sambusa. And one of the best ways that will really help you with developing better eating habits during Ramadan is practicing your eating habits right now. Eating less, but you're eating food that will fill you. So for example, food that's high in protein, food that's, drinking a lot of water and staying hydrated. I know y'all don't like to hear drink water. Drink that damn water. I know you don't like hearing it, okay? We hear it all the time. Drink water, drink water, drink water, drink water. Why do you hate water so bad? Why? When you are dehydrated, it's going to lead you to feel fatigue. It's going to make you tired. It's going to make you lethargic. It's going to make you, really feel low energy. But if you drink water, it's going to fill your body with the energy that it needs, especially in the morning and in the evening. When you gradually push back on your meal times, it's going to help your body adjust to longer gaps between eating and will be a lot easier for you to fast because as we know, Ramadan fasting hours are very long. When you have high sugar intake, it's going to cause you to crash and it will make fasting during Ramadan a lot harder for you. Where are my coffee addicts at? Put it down. This one was so difficult for me initially because I used to be a coffee fiend. Okay, I could not wake up in the morning without coffee. And if I didn't have my coffee, I'd have horrible headaches. Me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I made that switch when I started drinking matcha. I know matcha's not for everybody. You need to mature if you don't like matcha. Okay, we grew past that. Drinking matcha for me really helped me because it has way less caffeine and I felt like it still gave me the same level of energy and everything that I needed. But when I was obsessed with caffeine, I weaned off on caffeine a lot earlier before Ramadan so that I wouldn't have those really horrible headache. Now, I know this is hard for a lot of us. Just think about how that first sip of iced coffee is going to hit during Eid, okay? Be disciplined. Maybe start having coffee a little bit later in the day. Maybe not something with caffeine. You can have decaf coffee a little bit later. You can also switch to alternatives. You don't need to be having coffee. You can have, green tea. Meal prep. Now, meal prepping I know is not for everybody and, planning your groceries, planning what you're going to eat for Ramadan, but I promise you it will make your life so much easier and you'll be able to focus on your worship. I feel so bad for a lot of our moms, our aunts, like a lot of the women in our communities who are slaving it away in the kitchen and barely have time to even pick up the Quran because they're making sure everyone is fed. Prepping for food beforehand will allow you to have that time to actually worship, especially before you're breaking your fast because we know that is the best time to also be making dua and will also be easier for you because you're not having to have the mental energy of thinking about what to make because things are already prepped early on. And also avoiding all the extravagant iftars. Now I know this is hard, especially during the first week of Ramadan. I feel like that's when everybody goes off in terms of what they make and then we get a little bit lazy as Ramadan carries on. And we really want to, reduce wasting food and being a lot more intentional of the type of food that we're making so that everyone is able to eat, but we're not throwing food away. So, things that you can do, you can batch cook and freeze. So make things like soups, stews, you can make grilled meats, all of that in advance to save time. You can also stock up on essentials. So really avoid shopping so much during Ramadan. Focus on nutrient dense foods that are simple, easy to make, and meals that will fill everybody up. All right, this is very important. Okay, fix your sleep schedule in advance. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, I have things to do. Sleep. Really practice starting to sleep a lot earlier. Maybe if you sleep at 11 p.m., getting into bed by 10 p.m. so that your body slowly starts, getting dozes off to sleep at 10:30. At the very least, if you do this, when Ramadan starts, your body has adjusted to your sleep. And it will make waking up for suhoor and waking up for tahajjud a lot easier for you. Exercise. Don't look at me. Don't look at me like that, okay? You need to move your body. You need to move your body. You need to start exercising and you don't need to be doing intense workouts. I know there's a lot of gym girlies that, are hitting those HIIT workouts. Me personally, I'm a low impact girly. I love my low intensity workouts, but do what works for you. Personally, I think it's really important to build up on that exercise because your body moving and feeling active is going to impact what your salah looks like, your ability to stand for long prayers, your ability to have energy to pray, and it will help you to maintain your energy levels throughout the month. Now, if you are not a person just like me who can't be doing those HIIT workouts, going for a simple walk early on in the morning, maybe a 30-minute walk after iftar, that's already an hour of exercise. It could be something as simple as that. But really focusing in on strength and flexibility not just help you in terms of reducing muscle loss, but will also help you with reducing fatigue and feeling tired when you're fasting. Your body will adapt to moving while you're fasting. Please, please, please do yourself the favor of getting into the habit of moving your body. And also if you walk after iftar, it will help you with digesting your food a lot better. And it will help you to prevent from feeling, very sluggish, keep your energy levels at a good place. For the final section, because I feel like I've been yapping so much, is really focusing in on community. Now, this is community both online and in person as well, because it's really, really important to build a support system, especially during the month of Ramadan. And I say this not just for people who are born and raised Muslim, but also for reverts, because I know for a lot of reverts, they spend Ramadan alone and it can be very, very difficult. But I think it's really important to go out of your way to find community. And the way that you do that is, finding things that are happening in your local masajid. The thing that I love doing is finding an accountability partner, finding someone where we can both hold each other accountable and check in on our Quran reading, how far we've gone, finding a friend or family member that you can check in with. Also you can do something like set a shared Ramadan goal. So if maybe your Ramadan goal for both of you guys is to finish the Quran, or maybe your Ramadan goal are both to pray all of your sunnah prayers, and you guys hold each other accountable by checking it. It encourages you guys, but also makes it a lot more fun. You can also plan iftars. Like, there are so many things that you can do to really establish community. But I think that this is really important because Ramadan is the best time to bring people together, not just because we're in a state of worship and we're trying to gain as many good deeds as we can, but also to learn more about other people and their culture. So you can either attend an iftar or you can host one. If you host one, just think about all the good deeds you're going to get for feeding people when they broke their fast. But yeah, I think that's really amazing. And if you have the time and you have, space in your schedule to even volunteer, then do that. I have so much respect for people who volunteer during Ramadan, are collecting donations, are, cooking iftars. Like, I feel like they are the creme de la creme of our community and really keep our community afloat. So, trying to find out ways that you can help, maybe reaching out to your masjid and asking if there's ways that you can support. You can also, donate. I think that's a big one. I really like to set out my intentions in terms of how much I want to donate, but also where I want to donate my money to. So I usually kind of have an idea of that. And also just doing really simple things, you guys. Let's not minimize all of the small acts, just being very kind to the people who are around you, smiling, keeping good energy, I think will really help you feel the goodness and the sweetness of Ramadan. Okay, so that is pretty much everything that I have to say for this video to really help you prep for Ramadan. I just wanted to close this off by just reminding you guys that Ramadan is about progress, not perfection, and it's about trying, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees that. So just remember that as long as you are trying, you will get rewarded for that, inshallah. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges your actions based on your intention. So kind of try your best to view this as an opportunity rather than just being an obligation and something that you have to do. That Ramadan is a chance to really fix our hearts and feel closer to Him. If you knew that you had guests flying in from overseas to come see you, would you be prepping for, very last minute, or would you go above and beyond to make sure that you're able to host? You wouldn't do that, right? You would clean, you would organize, you would make sure that the space looks amazing, you would make sure that they're being fed well. So kind of think about Ramadan in the same way. Think about it as being an honored guest in your home and approach it in that way by prepping beforehand. With that being said, as Ramadan is right around the corner, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this Ramadan the best Ramadan for you, and that you feel the sweetness of your iman and you feel close to Him, and that all of your du'as are answered, inshallah. And I pray that this is a month of ease, of closeness to Him, of forgiveness. And I really pray, inshallah, that we leave Ramadan feeling elevated, both physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and all of that. I really hope that you guys found this video beneficial and that you guys found it helpful. If you did, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be trying my very best, inshallah, to create more content for you guys during the month of Ramadan. So make sure that you guys are subscribed so that you guys don't miss any single video that I post during Ramadan. And hopefully, inshallah, you guys will find it beneficial. And yeah, I think I yapped my head away, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys so much. Bye.